This is the story of my last act of Bravado, the three-piece rock and roll band from the sleepy city of Carlisle in the northwest of England. Geographically it is situated in the UK as Seattle is in the USA, but it is a lot smaller and has no Space Needle but does have a big chimney. The band was born from the leftovers of Elvis' jumpsuit four-piece gutter blues outfit with Hazel Nesworthy on vocals, Gareth Milburn on bass guitar, Stuart Armstrong on the drum kit, and founder of the EJS as well as chief songwriter and guitarist, Andrew W. Hill. The band were short-lived but made a name playing live, and soon they had interest from Orange Recordings in California. The band headed into the studio, but all was not well. It became apparent that Hazel was sneaking off to record vocals on a dance record, and Stuart, who had been warned over his drinking, turned up for the session drunk and possibly pilled up out of his head. This was the beginning of the end. Stuart was sacked the next day, not face to face but like most bands back then over the phone. This was not the end for Stuart, as fate would see him take his position on the stool again. He was replaced by Rab Hartley, a tough Yorkshire lad from Lancashire with a love for drumming. Often Rab would destroy snare drums and cymbals on stage and give the odd death stare in practice. The band continued for a short while, but Hazel was becoming more demanding, and it wasn't long before the band split. The Elvis jumpsuit played their last gig in the Twisted Wheel. Andrew decided to take some time out and reflect on the situation. He got a flight to New York City with his pal Mark "Pubby" Atkins, and in New York the pair of them hit the clubs and pubs in search of inspiration. Andrew returned all fired up and decided to continue as a three-piece. The band were to be called My Last Act of Bravado. The name came from a World War II documentary he watched on the television set in David Fenton's Manchester penthouse love pad. David was CEO of Skinny Dog Records. This would be the same record label that would never sign the band in the years that followed. Rehearsing started, and after a short while they had crafted a unique sound that some would compare to Nirvana and the Jesus Lizard. What the public were not ready for was the utter relentless swirl of noise and chaos that were to be the light shows. As one punter put it, it was like an in the Blitz, but all that was been dropped were atomic booms. My Last Act of Bravado played their first gig at the newly opened Brickyard in Carlisle. It was New Year's Eve, and by the time the band hit the stage it was 11:30. Gareth and Andrew were well oiled by this point, and what was about to follow was soon to become folklore. As the band staggered onto the stage, the crowd had no idea what was to follow. Sound check had been okay, but now Andrew was not in the best shape to do anything. After 30 minutes they had managed 3 songs, broke strings and climbed up the back of the stage. Part of the crowd grew angry. The others relished this bad behavior. The band were ordered to stop for New Year midnight celebrations. As soon as they started again, Andrew fell backwards down the stairs into the dressing room, his guitar hitting his head and splitting it open. Not realizing that he was injured, he tried to continue, but Rab stopped the gig and the band walked off the stage. That night My Last Act of Bravado were born. The standard had been set by this gig. Word got round about this new and exciting band that were a breath of fresh air into what was a stagnant music scene in Carlisle at this time. What the lads were not ready for was the response in the following months. The next few gigs were as notorious as the first. The front page ended in nothing more than a total farce. A support slot with the Arctic Monkeys was an opportunity for the band to shine in front of a capacity crowd. The gig was going just fine. Then a dose of catastrophic equipment failure had all three band members kicking and punching the amplifier back into life. Still, it was all good fun, and at the end of the night Garrett told them that they were okay. Nothing special. The Zootons decided to kick Bravado off the support slot. It was obvious that they were intimidated by Bravado's genius. That night some fans of Bravado chucked the MLAOB bottle at them. They did not like it. Tough ship scumbags. By now my last act of Bravado had gained a loyal fan base that included such celebs as Hollywood actor Brain Dick, better known for his role in Top Cop show The Bill, also Helzebah Pin, Mank Jurno, Punk Rocker, John Robb. He was always lurking about, trying to get in on the new and happening Carlisle music scene. The Manatees were a bit keen as well. Another big fan was London dual bass Gus blues band Monkey Boy. Singer cum, drummer cum Harry Potter stunt double, television extra Paul Warren and his bass-playing brother, Mark became good friends of Bravado. They often played the MLAOB and drank booze like rock stars. They would borrow Andrew's DVDs, and never return them as they always promised. Another longtime friend was Manchester-based gutter blues band Jackie O, fronted by Starfield Jackson, or as he was better known in school as Paul Rossington. Jackie O were signed to Skinny Dog Records, the same label that never had the foresight to sign Bravado. Another label to miss out was Motive Sounds, a small insignificant label that was destined for self-destruction and massive losses. Oh dear, ha 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 ha. Only kidding, Mark. Bravado were unstoppable. But at the time their amazing sound and fantastic good looks did seem to hinder the band. There was much resentment from less talented local bands, and to be honest they were so good looking, girls were intimidated by their handsomeness. This could explain the fact they had only one groupie. She was a local girl and the sister of ex-drummer Stuart. Her name was Julie, or Jock Kakaka. She would live about in a desperate attempt to join the band. Years later she would try as a singer, but she was a bit cat to say the least. Sorry Julie, every gig was now sold out. Every gig was London and carnage. Guitars trashed into amplifiers, into walls, into bass players. Here was a band that could do no wrong. But still the all-so-important record deal was missing. Cracks were starting to show within the band. The next year would see the destruction of the band forever.